The elevator kept taking me to the wrong floor even after I got out. At first I thought it was just a glitch, but the 5th time I stepped into the same identical hallway, same flickering light, same stain on the carpet, I realized I was no longer in control of where I was going. It started on the 2nd night of my business trip in Chicago. I was staying at one of those high-rise corporate hotels, polished lobby, slow elevators, sterile rooms that all smelled faintly like Windex and air conditioning. I'd been to this city a few times before, but this was my first time in this particular hotel. I was on the 17th floor. After a long day of meetings and fake smiles, I took the elevator up that night feeling drained and ready to collapse. But when the doors opened, I stepped out and immediately paused. The hallway didn't look like mine. It felt like mine's, same dull carpet, same layout, but something was off. The lights above flickered faintly. One bulb near the far end was completely out, and the wallpaper was stained yellow in spots. I definitely remember that. Still, I figured maybe I was just tired and got off on the wrong floor. I turned around to check the floor number above the elevator. No number, just a blank brass plate. I frowned and walked to the room I thought was mine, 1724, and tried my key card. The light blinked red. I double-checked the number. Yeah, it was 1724. I tried again. Red before I could try a 3rd time. The door to 1722 opened. Just a crack. I caught a glimpse of an eye, watching. Then it shut hot. No sound, no greeting. I didn't even hear footsteps. Goosebumps crawled up my arms. I hurried back to the elevator, stabbed the call button, and rode it back down to the lobby. The front desk clerk looked surprised to see me. Hey, I said, trying to laugh it off. My key isn't working, and I think I got off on the wrong floor. 1724. Right, he nodded. Rekeyed my card. Thanks, I said, and headed back. This time I watched the elevator screen as it climbed. 14, 15, 16, 17, the doors opened. I stepped out and froze. It was the same hallway, same flickering light, same busted bulb, same yellow stain on the wall shaped like a handprint. I turned around. No floor number again, just a blank brass plate. I backed up toward the elevator, heart starting to race. Pressed a button, waited. This time, I decided to go down one floor just to prove to myself I wasn't imagining it. I got in, pressed 16, doors closed, then opened. Same hallway. I started to panic. I ran back into the elevator and hit the lobby button. When the doors opened, it was still the same hallway. I stood there staring out, my ears ringing with silence. The air smelled like mold and something else, something metallic, like rusted pipes. I didn't step out. Instead, I went to the stairs. I figured I'd walk all the way down, floor by floor, if I had to. I opened the stairwell door. It was unusually cold inside, and the metal handrails were icy under my fingers. I walked down 2 flights, opened the door marked 15. The hallway was identical. No, not just identical, the exact same. Same flickering light, same stain, same door at 1722, slightly cracked open, like it had been waiting. I tried to call the front desk. No signal, not even Wi-Fi. I tried to retrace my steps, took the stairs back up, opened a door marked 18, same hallway. I started yelling. No one answered. I must have tried 5 different floors, stairs and elevators both, and every single time I ended up in the exact same place. It was like a loop, like the hotel had folded in on itself and trapped me in this one impossible hallway. Eventually I just started walking. The hallway stretched longer than it should have. Past room 1730, then 1736, then 1748. Numbers that didn't make sense. Every few doors, I'd try a handle, all locked, except one. It was wide open. Now darting inside, something about it felt wrong, like stepping into a place no one should be, like it had been waiting for me. I didn't go in. I couldn't. I turned around and ran. Eventually I found an emergency exit door. It didn't look like the others. This one had peeling red paint and a heavy metal crash bar. I pushed it open and found myself outside, alone, in an alley behind the hotel. Night air sharp in my lungs, the streetlights buzzing overhead. The hotel looked normal from the outside. 17 stories, lit windows. A security camera blinked above the service entrance. I went around to the front, stunned and shaking. The lobby was the same. The clerk looked up and smiled, like nothing was wrong. Everything okay? He asked. I left without answering. Didn't sleep that night. Didn't sleep well for a long time after. Here's the thing though. I checked back a few weeks later, out of morbid curiosity. Called the hotel to ask what floor the ice machine was on, then casually asked if there'd ever been an issue with the elevators. The woman on the phone paused. Elevator, she said. We only have one. The others were shut down years ago after an accident. A woman got stuck between floors and, well, she didn't make it. I asked what floor it happened on. She said they weren't sure. Witnesses say she kept hitting different buttons, she told me. But the elevator kept opening on the same floor, over and over. Then she added, almost like an afterthought. It's funny, we still get reports sometimes. Guests getting lost, hallways not matching, that kind of thing. She laughed lightly, but it always clears up. Eventually, the man in the ice machine room, the pounding started at 1:30 a.m. Heavy, desperate fists slamming against metal just down the hall. When I asked the front desk about the ice machine room, the clerk looked confused and said, "We don't have one on the second floor." I was driving cross-country to see my brother and ended up booking a last-minute room at a roadside motel in Missouri. It wasn't one of those roach-infested horror stories you hear about online. Just a generic two-story place with outdoor hallways, buzzing fluorescent lights, and a faded sign that read crystalline, cheap, forgettable, and most importantly available. They gave me room 215 second floor, end of the hall. It was muggy out, so I cranked the AC as soon as I got inside. The room smelled faintly like bleach and old carpet, but it was clean enough. I showered, flipped through some static-filled channels, then tried to fall asleep. I remember checking the clock, las 12:47 am. I was just starting to drift when I heard it. A loud bang echoing through the hallway. At first I thought it was someone slamming a door. Then it came again, this time more rhythmic, bang 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 like fists on metal. It was definitely coming from down the hall. I pulled back the curtain and peeked out the window, but saw nothing. The hallway was empty, washed in sickly yellow light. Then it started again, bang bang bang. It sounded close, maybe 2 doors down. I stepped into the hallway barefoot, immediately hit by a cold draft. Odd, considering how warm it had been. The pounding was coming from a metal door set into the wall, about 3 rooms down from mine. It had a faded label. Ice. I hesitated. The door was shaking slightly with each bang. "Hey, you okay in there?" No answer. Just one more dull thud. I tried the handle, but it was locked. I stood there a minute longer, unsure what to do. Eventually, the pounding stopped. Assuming maybe someone had locked themselves in or was just screwing around, I went back to my room and called the front desk. "Yeah, hi, I think someone might be stuck in the ice machine room on the second floor," I said. There was a pause. "The what room?" the clerk asked. "The ice room," I said. 3 doors down from mine. There's banging coming from inside. Another pause. Then, "Sir, we don't have an ice room on the second floor." I told him I was literally looking at the door minutes ago, label and everything. "Only ice machine we have is in the lobby," he replied, sounding annoyed now. "If you're hearing something, it's not from us." I hung up, unsettled. Back in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I pulled the covers up, turned on the TV for background noise, and tried to sleep. At 1:30 am, the pounding started again. Harder this time. I jumped up, heart racing. It was louder, more frantic, like someone was trapped. I yanked open the door and stared down the hall. The metal door was vibrating. The banging had become frantic now, almost animalistic. I swear I heard a muffled voice behind it, hoarse, desperate. "Please." Then more pounding. This time I ran to it and slammed my fist against the metal. "Hey, I'm here. Hold on." Nothing but a wheezing gasp, like the last breath before a scream. I grabbed the handle again, but it wouldn't budge. I looked for a keyhole. Nothing. No way to open it. I sprinted back to my room, called the front desk again. "Someone is inside that ice room. They're banging. They're trapped. Please send someone up here." He sounded distant, distracted. "Sir, I already told you. That room doesn't exist." I shouted into the phone, demanded he send security. He just repeated the same line, slower this time. "There's no ice machine room on your floor." I hung up, furious. When I turned back toward the door, the pounding had stopped. I stepped out again. The hallway was dead silent. The door still there looked dull and undisturbed. I stared at it for a long time. Then I took out my phone, snapped a photo of the door, and went back to my room. Sleep didn't come easy. The next morning I marched down to the front desk. A different guy was the ran. Older man. I asked if someone had checked that room. He gave me a puzzled look. "Sir, we haven't had an ice room up there in years. It was sealed off after a guest. Well, after something happened, management had it welded shut." I told him the door was still there, still labeled ice. Someone had been inside it last night. He frowned, then said something I still haven't forgotten. "You're in 215, right? That room used to be right across from it. We've had complaints before, people hearing things, seeing things, but there's no way in, no key, no handle on the inside." I asked what happened to the guest he mentioned. He hesitated, then leaned in slightly. "Years ago, a man went missing. Staff thought he'd left early, but guests kept reporting noises, banging, breathing. We finally checked that room and found a bloody shoe wedged under the machine. Never found the man. Only thing in the room was the ice maker and a mirror facing the wall. I left that morning. When I looked through my phone later, the photo I took of the door, it was just a blank wall. I heard someone breathing in my closet at exactly 2:47 am. I woke up to the sound of breathing that wasn't mine. It was slow, shallow, and ragged, like someone struggling to stay quiet just a few feet away. I had checked into the hotel late that night. It was one of those mid-tier business hotels, clean enough, but a little too quiet, like it was holding its breath. I was in town for a two-day conference, and just wanted somewhere simple to sleep between panels. The room was standard. 1 queen bed, a desk with a dim lamp, a TV bolted to the wall, and a sliding door closet next to the bathroom. It was one of those closets without a lock, just a thin metal rod and two flimsy hangers inside. I unpacked, showered, and tried to settle in. That first night passed without anything strange, but the second night, that's when it started. I woke up from a light sleep feeling this weird sense that something had shifted in the room. It wasn't loud, but there was a sound, subtle and low, coming from my left. I rolled over toward the closet, and that's when I heard it, raspy in hell. A few seconds of silence, then a faint, wheezing exhale. I froze. I actually held my breath for a moment, thinking maybe it was just me. But the breathing continued, independent of mine, slow and strained, like someone with a chest infection. I turned on the lamp beside the bed. The room looked the same as it had when I went to sleep. The closet door was shut, but not latched, just slightly ajar. I got out of bed slowly, heart pounding in my ears. I stood in front of the closet for a good minute, telling myself it was nothing, maybe the AC vent or the pipes, but the sound was definitely coming from inside. I yanked the door open. Nothing, just two empty hangers swaying gently, as if I'd startled them. I checked the bathroom, the hallway, even under the bed. The breathing had stopped. Eventually, I convinced myself I must have dreamt it. Maybe I'd been half asleep, still in that liminal state where the mind makes up sounds to fill the dark. But the next night it happened again. Exactly 2:47 a.m., the same ragged breathing. And this time it was louder, closer. I watched the closet door from across the room. I could barely make out the outline in the dark, but I swear I saw the door shift slightly, like someone inside was adjusting their weight. I didn't go to the closet that time. I just sat in bed, clutching my phone with 911 dialed but not pressed. After about 10 minutes, the sound faded. I barely slept. The next morning I went to the front desk and asked casually if anyone had reported strange noises on my floor. The woman gave me a blank look and said no. I asked if anyone had stayed in my room recently, and she said, just one man, about a week ago. He left early though, didn't even check out at the desk. That unsettled me, but I didn't ask for another room. I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe it really was the AC, or some weird sound from a neighboring room. I went to bed that night with the lamp on. At 2:46 a.m., I was already awake. I stared at the closet, waiting, and right on cue, the breathing returned. Only this time, the closet door creaked open just a few inches on its own. I didn't move. I barely breathed. There was a long pause. Then, the breathing stopped. A new sound took its place. Soft, deliberate footsteps on the carpet, coming toward me. I scrambled for the lamp switch and flicked it on. The room was empty. The closet door was wide open now, the hangers still. Nothing was there, but the air felt wrong, thick, heavy, cold, like something had just been there, like something had just left. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning I packed my things. When I pulled one of my suitcases out from under the bed, I noticed something wedged between the mattress and the frame. A single black and white photograph, curled at the corners. It showed a man standing in what looked like the same hotel room, my room. His face was turned away, looking at the closet. On the back, in faded pen, someone had written, "Don't open it." I left the hotel within the hour, didn't check out. Didn't ask for a refund, just left. It was 2 months ago. I still don't know what was breathing in that closet or why it stopped, but I haven't slept through the night since. And sometimes, right around 2:47 a.m., I wake up, feeling like something's watching me from the darkest corner of my room. And the worst part, my new place doesn't even have a closet.